Welcome to the deep dive. Ever think about maps? Not just road maps, but maybe maps drawn by lending practices, especially in a place like Miami-Dade. Well, today we're really digging into a pretty significant legal settlement, one that's kind of shaken up the housing and credit scene down there. Yeah, so our focus is this major agreement. It's between a mortgage company and the U.S. Department of Justice. And it's all about some, well, serious allegations of lending discrimination. We're pulling from a CBS Miami news report. This was back in January 2025. And our mission really is to unpack the accusations. What exactly were they saying? And then look at the settlement details and figure out what it all means for, fair access to housing and credit.
Right. And what's important to grasp here is that these legal actions, they aren't just abstract court stuff. They often set precedents. This particular settlement, it could actually become a kind of blueprint because it really emphasizes community reinvestment, not just fines, which might signal a shift, a
Yeah.
shift in how the DOJ handles discrimination cases. So understanding this stuff is, well, it's crucial if you're navigating the housing market or just care about community development.
That's a great point about the bigger picture. So let's zero in on the core issue. This CBS Miami report from January 9th, 2025, it says, the mortgage firm, Inc., they're based up in Altamonte Springs. They were accused of lending discrimination, specifically in largely Black and Hispanic neighborhoods in Miami-Dade. What kind of practices were they actually accused of?
That's where the DOJ allegations get quite specific. They talked about a pattern or practice of unlawful discrimination, which included accusations of redlining. Now, that's a term we hear, but it's this practice where financial institutions basically, well, draw invisible lines around neighborhoods, often based on race or ethnicity, and then they limit or deny financial services, like mortgages, inside those lines.
That's like creating financial barriers.
Exactly. And it's not always just flat out denying loans. It can be more subtle practices that might, discourage people from even applying for credit because of their race or color. It really damages the economic health of a community.
Right. So the allegations definitely suggest systemic problems. But what about the fix? How does a settlement like this actually try to correct those alleged practices, especially something like redlining, which can be so, well, baked in?
Okay, so this is where the settlement, which is formally called a consent order, lays out some really concrete steps. A consent order, just so you know, it's a legal agreement, often court approved. It lets everyone resolve the issue without a full trial. So, the mortgage firm agreed to put out $1.75 million.
Okay, 1.75 million.
Yeah. And this isn't just a fine paid to the government. That money is specifically for a loan subsidy program. It's designed to directly help people in those specific Black and Hispanic areas, help them with home purchases, refinancing, even home improvement loans, right in the communities allegedly affected.
That sounds pretty direct, yeah. Putting money right back into those neighborhoods. Was there anything else besides the money, like preventative stuff?
Oh, definitely. It wasn't just about the cash. The consent order also required the mortgage firm to improve its fair lending training for its employees and boost its staffing specifically to serve those communities better. Plus, expand outreach efforts within the affected neighborhoods.
Ah, okay. So it's about changing how they operate, too.
Well, exactly. It points towards, not just compensating for alleged past issues, but making systemic changes, trying to build more sustainable, fair access to credit going forward.
Makes sense. Now, there's a detail in the report about the consent order. It says the company neither admits nor denies the allegations. Oh, that sounds like legal language. Why is that phrase often included in these kinds of settlements?
Yeah, that neither admits nor denies clause is actually super common in these situations, especially with government settlements. What it does is it allows for a resolution, things can move forward quickly without the company having to formally admit wrongdoing, which, avoids potentially very long and expensive court battles.
Right. Saves time and money.
Exactly. But crucially, it still ensures that the communities get some form of redress, like that $1.75 million fund, and that the company implements changes to address the problems the DOJ pointed out. It's sort of a pragmatic way to settle complex disputes and focus on solutions.
Okay, I get it. So, stepping back, what does all this mean for you, listening right now, for the wider conversation about fair housing?
Well, I think it really underscores how historical biases, things like redlining, can still echo in our financial systems today. It's a reminder that we need constant vigilance, both from regulators, like the DOJ, but also from communities themselves. It's not just about righting past wrongs, it's about making sure future opportunities are fair for everyone. This settlement highlights that fair lending isn't just a legal concept, it's fundamental for economic equality and building strong communities. It really drives home that the push for equal opportunity in housing finances, well, it's an ongoing effort, and these legal actions are a key part of making that promise real.
So let's quickly recap the key takeaways here. The mortgage firm, Inc., settled with the DOJ over serious allegations of lending discrimination, specifically redlining in certain Miami-Dade neighborhoods, primarily Black and Hispanic areas. The settlement includes a $1.75 million loan subsidy program for those communities, plus commitments from the company to improve training and outreach, and importantly, the company formally neither admits nor denies the original allegations as part of that agreement. This was definitely an important issue to unpack today. We really encourage you to keep thinking about these complex issues, fair lending, housing access, and how they shape our communities. And maybe consider the role we all play in advocating for fairness. Thanks so much for joining us on The Deep Dive.